All right, so today we're gonna look at something pretty wild.
Yeah.
We were going through some old news clips, and we came across this
Oh, yeah.
this idea from former President Trump that Canada should become like the 51st state.
Yeah, it's kind of a fascinating thought experiment.
Yeah, it's like what if?
What if, right?
What if Canada just
Became America.
became part of the U.S.?
It all started with a Christmas message, actually, where Trump referred to Justin Trudeau as, like, governor.
Oh, wow.
And then from there went on to suggest that Canada should just join the U.S.
Oh, and he like had all these promises like
Yeah.
like, oh, you'll get a 60% tax cut.
Right.
Businesses will double in size. You'll get
Military protection.
top-notch military protections. Like,
The best.
yeah, it's a total sales pitch.
Yeah, it is. It's
Oh,
wild.
pretty wild.
But it's kind of fun to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if this actually happened?
Yeah. So, okay, like,
What would it look like?
how would this even work? Would we just take Canada and make it like one giant state?
I mean, that's one option, but I think a more likely scenario is that each Canadian province would become its own state.
Oh, so like
So you're talking 10 new states.
10 new states, which means,
20 new senators.
oh my God, can you imagine?
The Senate would be a very different place.
That would be total chaos.
I mean, it would definitely shift the balance of power.
For sure, for sure.
We actually looked at a Canadian poll from the last U.S. election,
Okay.
and Kamala Harris had overwhelming support in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, she beat Trump like 64% to 21%.
Whoa, okay. So Canada's a little bit more
A little bit more liberal.
Liberal
Yeah, than the U.S.
than the U.S. for sure.
So, adding those 20 new senators,
Oh, yeah.
that would probably give the Democrats a pretty big boost.
Okay, so let's like game this out.
Right.
So right now,
Yeah.
it's 47 Democrats
47 to 53.
to 53 Republicans in the Senate.
Right. And if you're adding 10 new states that are leaning Democrat, I mean, you could easily see that flip to like 65 Democrat, 55 Republican.
Oh my God. So Trump's idea to make America bigger
Right.
by adding Canada
Actually backfire?
could totally backfire on the Republicans.
Big time.
It's like he accidentally created this like
Yeah.
political time bomb.
It's amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah, and we're not even done yet.
Oh, there's more?
We got to talk about the House of Representatives.
Oh, right, because that's based on population.
Exactly.
So like how many new representatives would Canada even get?
So Canada's population is roughly 41.5 million people,
Okay.
which is kind of like adding California and New Mexico together.
Okay.
And based on those numbers, Canada would probably get something like 55 new congressional districts.
55.
Yeah, so the House would bump up to almost 500 representatives.
Okay, so now we've got this like mega house, potentially Democrat-controlled Senate.
It's a whole new world.
It's like he's handing the keys to the Democrats.
Here's the kingdom.
To the kingdom.
Unintentionally.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
And it seemed like he had no idea
Oh, he had no idea.
that this could even happen.
Nope.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it really shows how complicated
Yeah.
these two systems are,
Yeah.
how interconnected they are.
Totally.
You can't just like
Yeah.
change one thing without affecting the other.
Yeah, you can't just like plop Canada in there and expect
Yeah.
everything to stay the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
It's a
fascinating.
wild ride.
All right, so we've got this huge political shakeup.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface.
There's so much more to unpack here.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be good. Okay, so we've talked about how adding Canada could like flip both the Senate and the House.
Yeah.
But hold on a sec. We're not even done yet, right?
Right, we got to talk about presidential elections.
Oh, yeah, because like with all those new potential like Democrat-leaning voters from Canada.
Right, and electoral votes.
Yeah, electoral votes.
No.
It would totally change the game for any presidential hopeful.
Oh, absolutely.
Like someone like Trump would have a much harder time winning.
Much harder. Yeah.
It seems like any Republican candidate would have to like completely rethink their strategy to appeal to Canadian voters.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what kind of campaign promises would even resonate with them?
That's a good question. It would be interesting to see if a Republican candidate could like find common ground on issues like healthcare or environmental policy.
Yeah, because those are big issues for Canadians.
Right, those are priorities.
Yeah.
So it might even lead to like a shift toward more moderate Republican candidates.
Oh, the Trump's vision of like a red, white, and blue America.
Right.
Stretching from sea to shining sea.
Might actually end up looking a lot more blue.
Especially on those election night maps.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, the irony is palpable.
Totally. It's like the move that was meant to solidify Republican power could actually lead to its decline.
It's like a classic case of unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
But this thought experiment like goes beyond just the political arena.
Right.
We also found some articles about the economic implications
Oh, yeah.
of a U.S.-Canada merger.
Yeah. That's where things get really complicated.
Yeah, because we were talking about merging two very different economic systems.
Right.
Canada has a more socialized approach
Right.
to things like healthcare and education,
Right.
while the U.S. is like all about free market capitalism.
Exactly.
So how would we even reconcile those differences?
Right.
Would Canada have to like abandon its universal healthcare system?
That's a big question.
Would American businesses just like flood the Canadian market?
There's no easy answer. It would take a ton of negotiation and compromise on both sides.
For sure, for sure.
And it's not just about economics either.
Right.
We got to think about the impact on Canadian culture.
Oh, yeah. Their identity.
And identity.
Yeah. Canadians have like a strong sense of national pride.
Yeah, they do.
And their culture is definitely distinct.
Very distinct, yeah.
From American culture.
Imagine the debates about things like gun control.
Oh, yeah.
Which is much stricter in Canada.
Right.
Or even something as simple as the metric system.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine Americans trying to wrap their heads around kilometers in Celsius?
It would be hilarious.
It would be total chaos.
But beyond the humor, there are serious questions about, like, how to preserve Canadian cultural identity.
Within a larger American framework.
Right. Would we see a push for assimilation, or would there be, like, a celebration of differences?
Those are the kind of questions that make this whole hypothetical scenario so fascinating.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a fundamental shift in the relationship between two countries.
Between two countries.
That have always been so closely connected.
Yeah, it really highlights how much we take that relationship for granted.
Totally. We share a border, a language, a history.
Right.
But we also have distinct identities and values.
Very distinct.
This whole deep dive has been like a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
It's made us think about the complexities of international relations in a whole new light.
For sure.
But I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the geopolitical implications of a U.S.-Canada merger?
Ooh, that's a good one.
How would the rest of the world react to like this big power shift in North America?
That's a crucial question, and one that deserves like its own deep dive.
Yeah.
Would it strengthen North America's position on the global stage?
Right.
Or would it create new tensions and challenges?
Yeah.
It's impossible to say for sure.
All right. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we have.
From the political shakeup to the economic and cultural considerations.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap things up, there's one more aspect we need to touch on.
Okay.
The potential impact on everyday life for Canadians and Americans.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about all the big picture stuff like,
Yeah.
politics, economics, the global impact.
Right.
But what about like
the average Joe?
Yeah, like how would this merger actually like feel for people?
Like on the ground?
Yeah, on the ground, like everyday life.
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like beyond the headlines, beyond the politics.
Yeah.
This would actually affect everything.
Yeah, like every little thing.
Like everything.
Yeah, what do you think would be like the biggest adjustments for Canadians?
I mean, healthcare is a big one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Canadians are so used to that universal healthcare system.
Right.
But the U.S. system is like completely different.
Yeah, totally different.
So that transition could be really rough.
Yeah, confusing, stressful.
Definitely.
Yeah, and what about like taxes?
Oh, yeah.
Trump promised that 60% tax cut.
Right.
But would that actually happen?
I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, and what about like property taxes?
Right, sales taxes.
Sales taxes, yeah. Would those go up or down?
It's hard to say, but I think it's safe to assume there'd be some big changes to the whole tax landscape.
Yeah, beyond taxes, there's like the whole social safety net thing.
Oh, right.
Canada has a way more robust system than the U.S.
Way more.
Yeah. So how would those programs be like integrated or adjusted?
Yeah. That's a big question.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
It's making my head spin a little bit.
Yeah.
But on a lighter note, what about cultural differences?
Oh, yeah.
Would Canadians have to give up Tim Hortons?
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure anyone has the answer to that.
That's a tough one. But we'd probably see like a really interesting mix of cultures.
Oh, yeah. Like American pop culture is already huge in Canada.
It is.
But this would be like a two-way street.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Canadian influence is becoming more prominent in the U.S.
Right, exactly.
I could see it now, like poutine trucks.
Poutine trucks everywhere.
on every corner.
Yeah.
Poutine for everyone.
And maybe Canadians would finally convince Americans to use the metric system.
Oh, a host can dream, right?
A host can dream.
But jokes aside, this thought experiment really shows
Yeah.
just how much we have to think about. When we talk about merging two countries,
Two nations.
even ones that are as connected as the U.S. and Canada,
Exactly. It's not just about drawing lines on a map.
right? It's about people.
It's about people and cultures and histories.
Exactly. It's about weaving together these two complex tapestries
Yeah.
of like history, culture, identity.
You said it.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just how much we take our relationship with Canada for granted.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's easy to focus on the differences, but this thought experiment really highlights
Yeah.
the deep connections.
Yeah, all the things we share.
Yeah, that bind us.
Absolutely.
So, to our listeners, we'll leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
Imagine a world where the U.S. and Canada are one.
One nation.
Yeah, what opportunities and challenges do you see coming from that?
That's a great question.
Let us know your thoughts,
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
because this is a conversation that's just getting started.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.